The Galactic Council had always considered humans an oddity, a species that should have extinguished itself centuries ago, yet somehow persisted. Their planet, a blue marble dangling in an unremarkable spiral arm, had been flagged as potentially problematic, but ultimately dismissed as inconsequential. They are primitive, Ambassador Trell had declared during the first observation report. Their technology is crude, their bodies fragile, their lifespans brief. The Council nodded in agreement. The vote was unanimous. Earth would be monitored but left alone. Let them develop. Let them grow. When they reached the appropriate technological threshold, they would be invited to join galactic society. It took only 300 years. On a quiet Tuesday morning, when the Council was debating trade routes, between the Andromeda colonies, alarms blared throughout the Grand Hall. A human vessel had appeared at the edge of Council space. Not just any vessel, a warship bristling with weaponry that by all accounts should have been beyond their capabilities. Impossible, whispered Ambassador Trell. Our projections estimated at least another century before their development reached this stage. The human ship transmitted a single message. We come in peace but prepared for war. We wish to join your community of worlds. The Council, perplexed but intrigued, welcomed the human delegation. Captain Thomas Bell, a weathered man with sharp eyes, led the Earth contingent. You've been watching us, he stated, not asked. We detected your probes decades ago. Ambassador Trell's skin flushed a deep purple. A mere scientific curiosity. Of course, Bell smiled. Just as we were merely curious when we reverse-engineered your probe technology. The treaty negotiations lasted 6 months. The humans were persistent, detailed, and strangely fixated on contingency clauses. They insisted on maintaining independent defense forces. They requested technology exchanges but offered little of their own. They demanded non-interference provisions that even the most paranoid species hadn't thought necessary. You act as though you expect betrayal, observed Council Leader Vex. We prepare for all possibilities, Bell replied. It's what kept us alive on Earth. The Galactic Intelligence Division found human history perplexing. A species that had nearly destroyed itself a dozen times, yet always pulled back from the brink. A people who created poetry about love, while designing increasingly efficient weapons. Beings who extended compassion to other species on their world while waging wars among themselves. They're contradictory, concluded the intelligence report. Unpredictable but ultimately manageable. That assessment held for nearly 50 years. The Drexel incident changed everything. A minor resource dispute on a frontier world escalated when Drexel forces attacked a human mining colony. Standard procedure as far as galactic politics went. The attacked party would complain to the Council, reparations would be calculated, and life would continue. Except the humans didn't complain. They responded. Within 2 weeks, the Drexel fleet was scattered, their homeworld blockaded, and their colonial outposts occupied by human forces. The speed and efficiency stunned the Council. We don't understand, Leader Vex told the human representative, Admiral Ana Rivera. The appropriate response was to file a grievance. We warned the Drexel ambassador, Rivera replied calmly. We told them exactly what would happen if they attacked our people. But such disproportionate force, we told them what we are. An emergency council session convened. For the first time in 10,000 years, fear permeated the Grand Hall. They've been hiding their true capabilities, Ambassador Trell insisted. They deceived us. The intelligence chief shook his head. No deception. They told us about their wars, their weapons, their willingness to fight. They wrote it in their literature, showed it in their entertainment, explained it in their diplomatic briefs. We simply didn't believe them. The Council reluctantly acknowledged this truth. Humans hadn't lied. They had outlined precisely what they were capable of and how they would respond to threats. The Council had nodded politely and filed those warnings under primitive posturing. 3 days later, human representatives requested an audience. We come with a proposal, Admiral Rivera stated. A new security framework for the galaxy. The plan was comprehensive. Human fleets would patrol troubled regions. Human mediators would resolve disputes before they escalated. Human technology would be shared, defensive systems to protect vulnerable worlds. And in exchange? Leader Vex asked. Peace, Rivera answered. Stability, the promise that no species will suffer what the people of Outpost 7 suffered. Some called it protection, others a subtle conquest, but none could deny the effectiveness of the arrangement. Within a decade, piracy dropped to historic lows. Resource disputes resolved without bloodshed. Ancient enemies found themselves shepherded toward uneasy but lasting truces. The humans didn't conquer, they secured. They didn't dominate, they stabilized. We should have listened more carefully, Ambassador Trell admitted during the Centennial Review. When they said they were dangerous, we heard primitive boasting. When they said they valued peace but prepared for war, we thought it contradiction rather than strategy. Humans had written their nature into stories for millennia, tales of reluctant heroes who, when pushed too far, revealed terrible power. They had warned everyone, do not mistake patience for weakness, caution for fear, or restraint for inability. The universe had nodded and smiled at these quaint stories. The universe had realized too late that they weren't stories at all. They were warnings,